Imagine walking into the most luxurious restaurant in the city, where the elite dine, the wealthy flaunt their power, and the air itself drips with exclusivity. A place where five-star service is expected, and the idea of failure is non-existent. But tonight, something is different. A man dressed in a waiter's uniform moves between the tables, carrying himself with a quiet confidence. He is not just any server. There is something about him, something hidden beneath his calm demeanor. He serves with grace, yet he is met with mockery, condescension, and whispers of disdain. Some of the guests at this prestigious restaurant think they know everything, who belongs and who doesn't. They laugh, they taunt, they assume they are superior, but they have no idea who they are speaking to. Because tonight, they are about to learn a lesson they will never forget. Before we begin this incredible story, don't forget to like this video if you believe in respect for all, subscribe for more powerful and eye-opening stories, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And of course, drop a comment below. What would you have done in this situation? Now let's get into it. Darren Carter was a name whispered in boardrooms, printed in Forbes magazines, and respected across industries. A self-made Black billionaire, he had built his empire from the ground up: real estate, tech investments, and now, fine dining. Recently, he had acquired one of the most luxurious restaurants in the city, La Grande Elite. The place was famous for its five-star service, exquisite cuisine, and clientele made up of the wealthiest people in town. However, most of the restaurant's regular customers had no idea who Darren was. Since purchasing La Grande Elite, he had been too busy with his other businesses to personally visit. That changed one evening when the restaurant found itself unexpectedly short-staffed. A large corporate event had overwhelmed the restaurant, and several waiters had called in sick. Without hesitation, Darren put on a waiter's uniform and stepped onto the floor. Darren blended in as just another worker that night. He moved gracefully between tables, taking orders and serving meals with a warm smile. He didn't need to do this. He could have easily called in more staff, but he believed in leading by example. He had started his journey working in restaurants as a teenager, and he understood that no job was beneath him. That evening, a group of wealthy patrons, 4 men in tailored suits and a woman dressed in diamonds, dined at a prime table in the center of the restaurant. Their conversation was loud, their laughter condescending. When Darren approached their table with their drinks, one of the men smirked. Well, look at this," he sneered. "A Black waiter in a place like this? Didn't expect to see that." The others chuckled. Darren, unfazed, simply smiled. "Here are your drinks. Let me know if you need anything else." The woman leaned in, eyeing Darren as if he were beneath her. "I didn't know this place hired. His type must be an act of charity." Darren remained calm. He had faced worse in his journey to the top. He continued serving them with the same patience and dignity, refusing to stoop to their level. But as the night went on, the group grew bolder. As Darren refilled their wine glasses, one of the men turned to him and asked, "Tell me, do they at least pay you well here? Or do you survive off tips?" Another one chimed in, laughing. "Maybe if you're lucky, one of us will leave you a big enough tip to buy yourself a better life." The woman smirked. "Or at least a proper suit instead of that cheap uniform." Darren took a deep breath. He had dealt with ignorance before, but he always believed that patience was the best response. However, as he served them dessert, the comments took a sharper edge. "You know," one of the men said, cutting into his crème brûlée, "people like you should feel lucky to serve people like us. Not everyone gets the privilege of being in a place like this." The laughter rang through the restaurant, catching the attention of nearby guests. Some looked uncomfortable, while others pretended not to hear. Darren set down their desserts with precision. Then, for the first time that night, he spoke in a voice that commanded attention. "It's funny you say that," Darren said, standing tall, "because I don't just dine at this restaurant, I own it." The table fell silent. The laughter died instantly. "You own what?" one of the men stammered, his face draining of color. Darren reached into his pocket and pulled out a sleek black card, his personal business card. He placed it on the table with a calm confidence that sent shivers down their spines. Darren Carter, billionaire, entrepreneur, owner of La Grande Elite, and the man you've been mocking all night. The arrogance drained from their faces, replaced with sheer embarrassment. Other diners had stopped eating, their eyes locked onto the scene unfolding before them. Darren continued, his voice steady but firm. You see, success isn't measured by the color of your skin. It's measured by hard work, resilience, and the way you treat others. You assume that because I was serving you, I must be beneath you. But true greatness is not in belittling others, it's in lifting them up. One of the men fumbled for words. Mr. Carter, we didn't mean any disrespect. Didn't you? Darren interrupted. Because tonight, you didn't just insult me, you insulted every hardworking person who makes this place what it is. The chefs, the servers, the dishwashers, people who deserve just as much respect as anyone sitting at this table. The woman swallowed hard. We apologize. Darren studied them for a long moment before nodding. I don't need your apology, but I do hope you leave here tonight with something more valuable than your expensive watches and tailored suits. Humility. Because real wealth isn't in your bank account. It's in your character. Without another word, Darren turned and walked away, leaving the table in stunned silence. Around the restaurant, people clapped, some standing, some with tears in their eyes. After the incident, the story of Darren Carter's lesson spread across social media. People praised his dignity, his wisdom, and his ability to turn ignorance into a powerful teaching moment. A few weeks later, one of the men from that table returned, alone. This time, he requested to speak with Darren. Mr. Carter, he said, his voice humble, I want to apologize again. That night, I went home and thought about everything you said. You were right. I was wrong. And I want to do better. Darren studied the man carefully, then smiled. Change starts with recognition. I hope you follow through. The man nodded. I will. That night, Darren proved once again that true power doesn't come from wealth. It comes from the ability to inspire change. And as he stepped outside, looking up at the city lights, he smiled. He had once been the kid no one believed in, the man they doubted, the name they underestimated. But now, he was proof that character, dignity, and perseverance would always rise above ignorance. And that was worth more than any fortune in the world. And that, my friends, is the power of respect, resilience, and standing firm in your dignity. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. And if you haven't already, subscribe for more powerful, thought-provoking stories. Remember, true success isn't about wealth, but about character. See you in the next story.